He's like, yeah, we went with Biden. And I'm like, how'd you get to Ukraine? How'd you see Zelensky? He's like, we drove from Poland to Kiev. I'm like, no way. How'd you get and I'm like, who'd you guys take there? And he's like, can't tell you that.
Oh my goodness, that's so wild, dude. Our guest today. Welcome back to part one. Our guest is I was gonna say duty one, but that didn't make sense.
Very big booty.
Yeah, a very dope guest.
Very
Yuri, Gula.
Very crappy guest.
I guess you could say that. From Dooty Calls Plumbing. Yuri, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
How's it going, guys? My name is Yuri. I'm 29 years old, out of Minnesota. Enjoying life, living life, and trying to run a small business in America.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're trying to enjoy life, but you live in Minnesota, so there.
That's your first problem right there. It gets like negative 100 every single other day.
Dude, how do you do those long winters, man? You guys have winters till May, right?
It's like summer, like 2 weeks of the year, dude, to be honest.
So every time winter comes around, and this last winter especially, I was talking to my wife, and I'm like, man, this sucks.
Hey, but it's good for your business though, right? Like with furnaces and stuff like that.
I don't deal with furnaces, so for plumbing, it's good as well too.
Really? Yeah. How does that affect anything with?
So there's homeowners that forget to turn off their sprinkler system.
I'd be that guy. That'd be me.
They forget to turn off their spigots. So in springtime, a lot of our orders are just doing stuff like that.
Nice.
That's cool. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. How do you even fix it? Because once it bursts, right?
Once it bursts, it bursts. So there's
but you can't fix it unless you like dig up.
Hold on.
Anything in life can be fixed, and this is like we're working on a house right now here in Lincoln.
Okay.
And there's always a way to do something. You know, it's impossible. Like, what's a way? Okay, we can tear down this wall. We can do this. We can do this. There's always a way. It's just how much is it going to cost you? We can always change it. We can fix it.
Money talks.
We can take down sheetrock, open it up in the ceiling, and change the pipe for you.
Yeah.
We lay down them pipes.
Yeah, you lay pipe. Hey, what's your slogan, man? It's like one of my favorite slogans like I've ever heard any business have.
We are number one at number two. Dooty Calls Plumbing out of Minnesota.
We are number one at number two.
That's good.
Very clever. I love it.
Number one and number two.
Yeah.
I like that.
You're in plumbing, basically, Dooty Calls Plumbing. Quick question. When
Why?
you guys... Hold on. Absolutely super random.
No, I'm kidding.
Super random question. You were just mentioning taking down like sheetrock and stuff like that. If a pipe bursts, do you have to go in and like cut out? Do you ever have to cut out drywall? Do you patch it too, repaint it, or?
Heck no. All right, guys. So
I just cut their house, fix the pipe, and deuces.
Plumbers have a bad reputation in the construction industry because plumbers are known to just use their sawzall. So if you see a plumber come in, it'll be like way crooked lines because we don't care about who's next.
Right.
We just care about getting our pipes fixed. But obviously we don't do that as a company.
Issues with your pipe, yeah, I get it.
We have lasers, we have levels.
They use lasers. It's all right. They use lasers.
And we try to make a good job for the next person that comes in. For example, the sheetrocker. If I were to do sheetrock, if I were to do painting, I wouldn't be a plumber. I'd be a handyman.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was saying last night when I was working, the reason why I was working is while I was working, I was trying to figure out TikTok ideas because man started a TikTok this week, dude. I don't know if you saw one of his TikToks. What was it? 150,000 views already?
Yeah.
Dude, like 6,000 likes, bro. I was like,
in like 3 days. And
how? What'd you do? Which one was it? I didn't even.
It was
the one where he was cutting with the saw?
Yeah.
That one got 150,000.
Yeah.
I know it's TikTok, so it's like 100. It's not like something like YouTube or something.
I don't know. I've been posting TikToks trying to get 100 views, man. With printers, it's just not working out. I'm about to give up.
It's just lucky, you know, and it's lucky that it's my second video, so it's giving me the drive to continue more. So now every day I'm trying to be funny, and it's not funny and looks stupid, but we're continuing.
You're hoping that one hits.
We'll get back to that because I think that's actually interesting because like of how like why. Okay, let's put a pause in, but I don't want to forget it because why in the world would something like an industry like plumbing even need TikTok, right? But we'll get back to that. My question. I said it jokingly, but for real, why? Why plumbing?
Why plumbing?
Why did you choose that?
How'd you get into plumbing, man?
We can go with the short story. So after
we want the juicy story.
I ain't got
Don't spare the details here.
All right, boys. After I was done with high school, I went into college with my friend, and I went for the nursing program because my mom's a nurse, and she wanted me to go into the medical field. I did it for about a year and a half. It sucked badly. I hated it. I didn't want to show up. I didn't want to do the homework. And after that, I decided to go to Bible school to Siberia. I've had a few jobs beforehand, like Ed. I worked at Subway. for a few months. Then right before going to Siberia, I found a job working for USPS, and this is a pretty cool story. I go get a job at USPS facility where we made boxes.
Wow.
And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was like 17 years old, 18 years old. I go on Craigslist. I find this listing, $13 an hour. I'm like, wow, legit, $13 an hour. I'm 18 years old, whatever. Right. I'll go get.
This is back in what, 1970?
No. 18.
18. So I go to this interview, and the guy's like, yeah, we like you. When are you able to start? I'm like, well, I can start anytime. I need to make the money because I'm going to be leaving to Siberia in about like 5 months. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, we'll hire you, but we're not paying you $13. We're paying $21 an hour.
Well, that's a nice surprise.
That was why? Because USPS is a government program, or not a program. It's
USPS.
Yeah, United States Postal
not
Service.
USPS.
USPS, yeah.
Okay.
And they have to pay people a certain amount just because it's federally funded.
Right.
Mm.
So they didn't want to put it on Craigslist just to get a bunch of people, just random people showing up because it's $20 an hour. Because back at that time, people like working construction and tile were making like $18 an hour.
Wow.
So it was fun. I did that for about 5 months. Went to Siberia, came back, and I'm thinking, what the heck do I do now? I don't want to go to college. I hate nursing. I hate medical field. I want to find something that I do. And I'm just sitting around, and one of my relatives gives me a call. Hey, Yuri, we're needing help right now. For about a week, come help us do some plumbing. I'm like, I can do it for a week. So I go over there, and I stayed with them for about 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay. When you say stayed, explain that. What do you mean stayed?
So I was only supposed to be there for a week.
Okay.
How old were you when you did plumbing for the first, like, got your first plumbing job?
19.
19.
Yeah. I started at 19. We did that for 5 years with the company. Why did I stay with them? I don't know. I enjoyed it. Not gonna lie. Like I remember my first day clearly as day.
I mean, yeah. Let's go over that first day because something's got to really hook you up.
I know, like plumbing, man. What was I
mean,
I hate construction. All things construction related. I want to just.
For me is listening to my relatives and talking about how much money they make. That was probably the first drive that I got, and I'm hearing, okay, you can actually make this much doing construction. When I hear like tile guys doing this, framers doing that, and I'm like, wow, this could actually be a career out of it.
What was, if you don't mind sharing, what was that number when they back then when they were saying what number hooked you?
Back then,
at 19
years old. Previous to me, he was hired by an American company. Before he started his own business, he was getting paid $60 an hour.
Oh snap!
Yeah,
that's not a little bit.
It's not a little bit, especially for then.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a long story. So he moved. He was a plumber in Ukraine when my old boss. He came to America. When he went for the apprenticeship program, they gave him 3 years since he was a plumber back then. So he had 3 years. In plumbing, there's 2 ways you can get your license. You can either work for somebody for 4 years. You can get your journeyman's, or you can go to school for half the day and go work. It's going to take you 5 years for journeyman's. So if you're working for a company, it's going to be 5 years for master's plumber.
So why not just work?
So similar to like electricians, right? Like
exactly,
it's the
same exact thing.
Kind of trades way you work under someone. I'm assuming.
Yeah. So you do apprenticeship program.
Okay. And so how did you? Because you started working under him, right? Kind of on a whim.
Yeah, exactly.
Found out you could make a bunch of money. Was there like a school you had to go to, or was it just like, hey, I'm working under you and he'll sign off on it? Is that how plumbing works?
Exactly how it works.
That's how plumbing works?
Exactly.
A plumber can just say, hey, he worked for me for 5 years?
Any plumber?
So,
how do you prove it?
This is how you prove it. So as soon as I started, after the first week, they made me sign comp cards and stuff. You register yourself with the city. As soon as you register yourself with the city, every month he has to send to the city how many hours I worked. And he has to prove that he sent me the money for the checks. And for the journeyman, the master's plumber, you have to have a certain amount of hours for different things. Yeah. For example, thousands of hours in lane pipe, thousands of hours of doing water, and like stuff like that, like different things.
Right, in different kind of
categories.
And
stuff.
Yeah.
So the state needs to receive it every month.
Dang. Okay, so you just
ton of work to take an apprentice under yourself, then, huh?
What was that like? Because one thing on this. Food. But one thing on this podcast that we like doing is like kind of talking about, it's obviously called part one.
Mm-hmm.
Shed some light on how or what that first experience is in an apprenticeship. We've actually never had someone who went through an actual apprenticeship program, right? And maybe it wasn't official, but it was definitely probably hours every week. And it was definitely not, if I know anything about working for, is this his family?
Yeah. Well, distant relatives, yeah.
But I'm assuming, how old is he?
Well, so I worked with a guy named Alex. He's like 2 years older than me, or 3 years.
Okay, so it wasn't like super old head type of thing. But like, I'm assuming there was definitely like a learning curve, and I'm assuming you didn't get like material, because like everyone understands like, hey, go to school, learn, right?
Yeah.
Apprenticeship, how do you learn? Is it all hands on?
His dad would be a very good teacher. He would tell me, he would explain to me, for the first few months, you watch, you learn, and there's so many different things that you do, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay, I know how to do this certain thing, but it's different when you start doing it.
Right.
So a lot of times I would start working on a house. I start doing waste and vents. So that's where your poop goes, where your water goes. Start gluing it all together. He would come. He doesn't like it. He wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't yell at me. He just cut it out and see us do it again.
Old school teaching.
How many times? Like what? How many times did that have to happen?
2 to 3 times on things that I didn't know. Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. It was so
who pays for it? Who pays for
he
the?
He takes a hit for sure.
Really?
Yeah. The owner takes a hit for it for sure.
Well, it was the company.
Company owner. Yeah.
Not the
No,
homeowner. He said, "Hey, he messed up.
Hey, it ain't my problem." Yeah.
And you know what people say a lot is people don't change jobs, people change bosses. So
That's good.
I didn't hear that, but it's
Yeah.
true. I like
Yeah.
that.
Big facts.
so if you have somebody that you can enjoy working with and
Yeah.
you get along with, sometimes money won't even be an issue if you're making enough. People start like changing jobs sometimes due to money issues, but a
Yeah.
lot of times it's for the boss.
Yeah.
I don't get good with my environment with the coworkers that I work with, so I'm gonna change the job. For me, I got along with the main boss pretty good. I was young, and after like 5 years, his son and me got in a few arguments together.
Okay.
Like I said, I was hot-headed.
You were young.
Young, yeah. So I got in a few arguments with him, and I just left. I walked out on the job.
This
At
is 5
what
years
point?
in?
5 years.
So hold up.
So you got your official license, like your master's.
Not with him.
What?
So
Okay, why-
okay. So what happens if you? Sorry.
No, you're good, you're
What
good.
happens if you quit? Do you
Your
have to
hours stay with you. Then you.
Okay, so
okay,
I was like, I thought it was like done. Like this was that bad that I just like screw this guy.
It's
I'm
like-
gonna
I was like,
go
this-
through a bunch more crap.
Yeah,
you know?
I
Literally.
don't want to share the stories that happened.
Right,
It's
sure,
Whatever,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
different sides.
Right.
Me and this guy are cool.
Right.
That
Right.
we go on mission trips together now. Me and him are tight. I can't say anything against him. It's just whatever happened.
Different
it was
moment,
for the
different
best.
time. Right.
just
for the best.
young and heated?
And I remember the day I just grabbed my bucket. Literally, I had a 5-gallon bucket with
Poop. No.
with like $100 to $200 worth of tools.
Mm-hmm.
I walk out and I'm like, I'm done. I'm driving home.
Dang.
His dad is calling me. He's like, why'd you leave? And I'm like, I just can't. Whatever. I'm done. I come home. A day goes by. I'm like, what the heck am I gonna do?
Calm down.
A second day goes by. I'm like, what am I gonna do?
Like what have I done?
So
Go ask for it back.
So you start going. Am I gonna go work for another company, or I'm gonna start something on your own?
Mm-hmm.
So after that point, some time passes. I decide to start my own company.
About how long between?
Probably 2 months, 3 months.
2 months. Well.
Yeah. I start my own company. Start looking for a name. I get my name. I register my company. I'm Dooty Calls Plumbing.
The LLC,
Yeah,
the articles.
Hey, here's my paper.
I got all the papers.
Making money now.
I got the paperwork. I got my insurance, but I got no work.
Like, what are you talking, dude? I'm a business owner. That's what I
Yeah.
do.
Did you see LLC behind there? Corporation.
Yeah, talk to me with some respect, man.
Yeah, so I had a little sum of money saved up by then, and I'm
Right.
like, what the heck am I going to do? So I didn't want to start calling, because for 5 years, I started to know a lot of contractors around the Minneapolis area, people that we work with and stuff like that, like people that do renovations, remodels, and I'm like, I can't call these people,
Right.
because I would feel bad, like calling somebody that I work for and taking their business
It's
away.
more like a loyalty thing.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to poach, basically.
I didn't want to poach any people, so I started calling people from church, my friends, people that I knew, and telling them, hey guys, I'm starting a plumbing company. And a lot of people already knew that I was doing plumbing for 5 years because I would go help my family members, like, hey, I need a water softener, I need a water heater. You run around, do this, that. So I just send my name out there, get at 1 job a week, get 2 jobs a week. And then little by little, calling people. And I remember after about a half a year, I'm like, man, this is gonna suck if this continues. You know, the revenue's not. What I thought. What you got to understand is, like, I go do these little jobs. For example, I make $500.
Yeah.
I need tools.
Yeah,
you go to Home Depot and you spend more than $500 because you need this, you need that, you need that. Yeah, you can't just be doing the same thing over and over for everybody.
Right.
Can't be driving on a Honda Civic or whatever, whatever I had back in the day. I've never had a Honda Civic.
Yeah.
So you got to get yourself a work van. That costs money, So you're into it deep. And I remember thinking it's either going to go or I'm going to be broke for a little while.
At what point, because it's interesting, we had someone on, does this, again, in construction, started similar things, but they were also talking about this aspect of, hey, the startup costs and, like, you couldn't just pull up in, like, some raggedy old car, especially if you're trying, like, if I'm trying to make it, I'm either going to make it or I'm not. So, like, I'm going to actually put the work, get the work van, because, like, that he was talking about that as well.
I was pulling up in a raggedy car for 2 years when I started my company.
Dang, all the tools in there, everything?
Everything, bro. I had a Ford Transit Connect. It was a small work van. Mm-hmm. I bought that thing for $2,500 on Craigslist, and it had 230,000 miles.
How much did you put on there?
That is sketchy, bro.
When I sold it was over 300,000 miles on it for sure.
How long do these cars last? I feel like you buying a car at 230, you can break down tomorrow.
Yeah, that's why I paid $2,500 for it.
Gosh dang.
I feel like you got ripped off at $2,500 to be honest, but I guess you got it to 300, so that's impressive.
It was less than 230 because I think I put like 80 or 90,000 miles on it.
A lot. That's
so in
just
3
for work
in
trips,
3 years
that's a lot.
About like
3 years.
25,000 miles.
He's not. For some reason, why do I feel like you're like in the business for like decades at this? Well, I guess you are at this point.
10 years.
Technically, you're 10 years in. But for the first 5 are not. First 5 is apprenticeship. Yeah. Second 5 are duty calls, right?
Hold on, you bought a van with like over 200,000 miles, and you used it for 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years?
Yeah.
It lasted that long? I'm about to go buy a car with those kind of miles. If they last that long, shoot. I'm going to get that freaking McLaren on the low right now.
Hey, listen to this. I sold it to a plumber.
No.
Told him it had 100,000 miles on it.
They'll roll back the mile. But did it last him a while too?
He still drives it to this day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know cars last that long. Am I just like delusional here?
Bro, that thing, I was getting like 25 miles a gallon. It was awesome. And
bro, that's more than
better than I get. What I get. Anyway, so that's, I feel like, okay, so what I would, if you're willing to talk about this, because, sorry, I kind of pulled you away, but you were talking about the startup cost and like not really having, like not knowing if this was going to work. Was there any like, I guess, was there any point where you were like, maybe I should cut my losses?
A lot of points, guys.
Well, like, is there one that's memorable? And like,
there was for sure.
After what? Like, why did the point come?
It was frustrating. So in a plumbing business, when you hear of plumbing, few companies, Roto-Rooter, like stuff like that around town over here, And how do you get your name out there? So after about 4 months, I decided to get onto. Sorry, I'm going to take a little thought. This is going to be cut out.
Yeah.
Блин, как это называется? That company that looks for jobs for you.
A marketing agency?
No. It's everybody knows it in construction.
I'm not in.
Not in construction.
Contractors are us.
Home advisor.
Home advisor. Okay,
sorry.
I've heard of home advisor.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was like a thing though.
Yeah. So after a while, I sign up with Home Advisor.
Okay.
I get my company out there, and how Home Advisor works is it's pretty. I don't want to say this on camera, but it's a little bit scammy. It smells a little bit like that. So how Home Advisor works? I register my company.
Yeah.
And they send me leads. And I can get a lead any time in the day. For example, my phone rings. You have a lead for a new water heater replacement.
Okay.
I have about 2 seconds to pick up the phone and call that customer.
Before someone else takes it?
So every plumber
so
in
it's
Minnesota,
a brokerage basically.
bro, every company in Minnesota as a plumber is going to get that same exact text message.
Right.
And
That
the first
poor
person to call,
customer, man.
and every lead is costing me anywhere from $50 to $125,
Wait,
Ouch.
so you hold up. What? Okay.
whether or not you pick up the phone,
whether or not you pick up the phone.
That makes some money.
bro.
Yeah.
That's money.
So Home Advisor
Home-
got bought out by Angie's List. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. Yeah.
Oh my.
I need to do something like that.
I was
I need
like,
to do something.
so
That's a fantastic
if the phone
idea.
rings, you have
Yeah.
to pay for it.
Even if it didn't ring.
No, even if
you
it
get,
didn't ring.
If you get a lead into
If you get
your
a
phone,
notification,
yeah. So a lot of these big companies that have like a person in the office working.
that's all they do.
That's all they do.
Wow.
Me, I'm out there doing things here and there, and I'm like nervous because I'm about to get
If that
charged
comes
another
up,
$100, you know. So with Home Advisor, I was about going $2,000 to $2,500 a month, just on leads.
$2,500 a month.
Yeah, just for leads, and I was doing that for a little while, a little over a year. And that's
Is that profitable? Because that's
It is profitable.
$25,000 a year, and I
Yeah.
understand the margin's high in plumbing, but
it is profitable because at the end of the year I can write it off as marketing, stuff like that.
right.
For
And
me
then they
it
just give the
wasn't.
money back, right?
For me it
So
wasn't
the
even.
write-offs work.
The write-off
It wasn't even the jobs that I was getting. It was how much customers are going to and spreading the name.
Mm.
And this
Oh, okay.
to this day right now, when I'm working in Minnesota, I pay $0 in ads,
Mm.
Nice.
and I'm working full time, and I have another guy working full time, and it's word of mouth that just passed on over the years. So shout out to Home Advisor, they helped me spread the name,
Dang.
and that's how I got around. Another thing that helped me is after Home Advisor, I closed the account because I was getting work with contractors. I was getting a lot of work with contractors,
Right.
people that started knowing me. And then I remember just like one time I'm coming home, I'm stressed, working 12 hours a day. I'm like, man, screw this. I'm going to go see if I can throw the ownership of responsibility of a company to somebody else. I'll go work for somebody else if they'll pay me enough. I
Really?
go, yeah.
At what point? How many months, years are you in?
So I'm about a year and a half in.
Okay.
Yeah. So half a year I spent like literally trying to find jobs, a year in Home Advisor. And after that, I go on Craigslist. Shout out to Craigslist for the second time. I find this city not too far from where I live. It's called Burnsville. And I'm just looking for a job, and this city's throwing out a job for water meter replacements as a plumbing stuff. So you work
Right.
as a plumber. So, and the thing is, they didn't hire me. They kind of hired my company. So it was Dooty Calls Plumbing they took in, and I would kind of sub for them.
Mhm.
And what I did for about a year, a little over a year, is I would go to thousands of houses in the city of Burnsville, and I was replacing water meters.
Is that hard? Is
Easiest job of my life, guys.
Oh.
Easiest job. So all I need is two pliers.
Huh.
So 2 channel locks. You have like a computer to register the meter.
right?
You have a bucket to turn off the water and drain the water, whatever, change the meter, and that's it. And I was doing about 8 to 10 of them a day. It's super easy, especially when you're in the same city and you get scheduled like house after the house.
Mhm.
So
Dang.
I would work for 6 hours. I would work for 5 hours. They pay me for 8 hours. And the rate they paid me back then was $55 an hour.
Wow.
Wow.
So
Not bad at all.
That's
yeah,
and the fact that you wouldn't have to get a single new part, a single new
Nothing.
tool, a single new
That-
anything,
yeah.
2 pliers or whatever.
yeah.
What happened with that? Why'd you stop doing that?
So how this company works is they get a contract with the city. For example, they had a contract with the city of Burnsville, Minnesota. They were paid $4.5 million, and they had to complete it in about a year.
Mm-hmm.
So they completed the job, and the next job was in Fort Worth, Texas. And they're like, please come with us. They were gonna pay my apartment. They were gonna give me a daily limit for food, and they were gonna they weren't gonna pay me an hour there, because you got to understand, Minnesota plumbing, every state is different with
Right.
plumbing code and stuff like that. So in Texas, you don't have your water meter inside like we do in Minnesota, because in Texas it doesn't
get
freeze
cold.
like
Yeah.
Minnesota. So there, you get paid by how many meters you change, because they're all outside. You don't need to schedule an appointment. You don't need to go to the person's
Okay.
house. You just go outside, change it, and keep
technically
going.
easier.
Yeah.
Easier, much easier, yeah. And you can actually, if you grind, you can make more money doing
Mm.
it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I was gonna go. I was gonna go to Fort Worth, Texas,
Really?
and my parents stopped me.
What?
And this was probably June, and in August was Fresh Fire, and that's where I kind of started talking to Nastya from Nebraska.
Your
wife
wife. Your
Yeah,
wife.
my wife now.
Wow. So you okay. Here's the thing. Okay, I know a lot because you were raised in Minnesota,
Mhm.
right? Well, when did you come to Minnesota? How old are you?
I was 7 years old.
Okay, immigrant.
I moved from Ukraine. Yeah.
Is
Okay,
it saying that
no,
like
we're
an
all
immigrant?
immigrants. So we're all immigrants. Okay. No, the thing
I'm
is,
not an immigrant.
basically, the thing is, I know a lot of people talk about like moving away. Why didn't you? Because my parents said, yeah, cool, but like
Mhm.
at this point, no girl. Ha! No, I'm kidding. No, no. Like, you don't have much tying you down, especially if something super lucrative comes
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, and to
For-
Texas.
for me-
is
And to
dope.
Texas is way. I mean,
It's
It is.
dope, dude.
Like
Mm,
again,
better
like you
Minnesota.
mentioned, it's immigrant mentality.
Huh.
So for me, it was hard to leave my family.
okay,
It was hard for me to leave my church community because I do stuff in the church, and it's
Gotcha.
hard to leave my parents. I don't know. It would suck for me.
You had enough roots there that
Yeah.
that tearing them up would be almost not worth it.
Yeah.
So at this time, they're moving to Texas and stuff like that. And was that basically like all of your work basically consisted of changing those water meters? You weren't really picking up any other jobs?
I was doing both.
Okay.
Oh, so you were
So
doing both.
I was
Okay,
doing
gotcha.
both. So I would work for, like I said, 5-6 hours a day for them. They still paid me for 8,
Mm-hmm. Pretty
which was
nice.
legit. I loved it. The awesome thing about this company, so old meters in the houses are brass.
Okay.
So brass is a valuable metal, especially when you have a lot of it.
Mhm.
So I would go and I would collect these brass meters over time, or if I go,
They
to
wouldn't
like,
even have you recycle them. You kept them.
So they would recycle it.
Oh,
They
okay.
have like I come to a big facility. They would drop off the meters, but my foreman or whatever, the guy that kind of looked over, he didn't care at all.
Mhm.
So I would collect them, hundreds of them. Like if you come, for example, if you go to a commercial building,
Yeah.
there's meters like 3 inches wide. They're like this big. It's like 150 pounds.
Mm.
I would take those home. Back then, yellow brass was about $270 a pound.
Wait.
And 150 pounds per
Like if you do those big
Yeah.
meters, usually it's the smaller meters. They're about five pounds.
So you were probably what, like 500 to $1,000 bonus every week just by taking out that.
not 500,
About like $600 a week bonus just from. And what
Really?
I would do is
Imagine,
I
dude.
would take
you could
those.
do your job and then like you could just take the trash and also make money
Make
on it.
money off the trash.
I would
yeah.
take those meters apart, so it was a work.
Uh-huh.
So
Well, you have to
you
take
don't
off
want
the glass or the wires.
the
or
plastic
whatever.
mostly,
Oh,
and
yeah, okay.
and what the springs that I had in there. So I'd take it apart. My dad would help me.
Mm.
I would give my dad a cut because I thought I was the richest person making $55 an hour. You know,
Like, it ain't no problem for me.
Yeah,
He's a
take
young-
this
young
chump
hustler.
change. Yeah, so that's pretty much where it started. After they moved, and I started pursuing
Mhm.
more into my own company. Started investing more into my own company. Started to have people work for me. That's
Mhm.
when I started to have some people come and go, and I understood how hard it is to have apprentices under you.
Yeah.
And big shout out to my old boss that taught me everything, because man, it takes some patience. And every apprentice you have, it's going to be a hit.
What do
You're
you
not going to make money off of apprentice.
Mhm.
For the first year, you're going to go negative with them.
So what's the point?
What's the point?
Is that they stay with you?
is
That's
they stay with you. Yes,
I feel like
So you're
that's
just
very
taking a
rare though in a
gamble?
trade. I feel like that's very very rare in a.
it's a big gamble. So
Because at a certain point, the second he gets good enough,
he
where
can
you
start
can
his
be
own
hands
company.
off,
Yeah.
then he can just
Exactly.
go.
And I feel like that's the goal for most
for most
tradesmen,
people.
You know?
That's
Right,
why.
right.
That's why when I want to kind of, we'll probably get into this, but how growing goes, you know.
that was my next question.
You can't be comfortable at the level you're at all the time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I want to see growth. I'm getting sick and tired of seeing the same things, but growth has come to me from a different area. I got a big contract with Samsung,
Mm-hmm.
and that's been for the last a little bit over a year. I've been working mostly Samsung. 90% of my jobs are Samsung.
What does that mean?
So every refrigerator, every microwave, every gas stove, every gas dryer, washer in Minnesota that gets bought from Samsung, I install it.
Not
Nice.
every
single one.
Not every.
If anybody selects the
There's like 8 million people in like Minnesota.
Bro, I'm the only contractor that works with Samsung for gas install. So you got to understand gas.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
has to be gas, and it has
Yeah.
to be, and they have to request the install.
Yep, exactly. So
But that's still a lot.
it is a lot, bro.
That's why he's talking about growth right now, Ed. That's crazy.
I can't imagine one person, like a one person. Even if you had like 5 people, I feel like there's more. How long does it take to install a full set? I'm talking about refrigerator. Because if you're doing
It's
one,
very,
you're doing
it's
more.
very rare to do 4 or 5 at a time. Like the biggest thing I'll do is probably microwave, dishwasher, and gas stove. That would be like 3 in one house. Some people add a gas
How
dryer.
long does that take?
It would take me 3.5 hours.
Yeah, see, so it's not like I mean,
How many do you do a day?
So if it matters what, most of my orders are coming from gas dryers.
really, I don't know. I wouldn't think dryers. I feel like, am I tripping here? Like, I feel like people, like, I don't hear of many people buying like dryers in terms of, Samsung dryer. I'm not crapping on Samsung here, but
Oh, crap on Samsung. I hate Samsung.
Do you see Apple dryers? I didn't think so.
That's a good point.
Burn.
Just like them gas dryers.
No, but okay, so you got the Samsung contract, and basically that was a big turning point, you want to say, for...
Yeah. So from August to December of last year, we went through over 400 customers, close to 400 customers, just from Samsung. And I have help that's doing it. I have a guy that's working full time, and for example, I'm here right now. He's doing the installs. You know, it has to continue.
Gotcha.
There's no days off.
Got to keep up the installs. Does it work? Because I'm assuming, am I guessing this correctly? I'm assuming there's enough orders to keep you busy pretty much always.
Always, yeah.
Okay, so how does that work? Do you have to hit a certain quota, or is it?
No, as it could be anywhere from 30 to 40, 50 a week.
Kind of a lot.
And we're working Saturdays as well, so we're working 6 days a week.
Wow.
Is it enough? Is it enough work to, like, could you like add 2 more people and still have work for them?
Well, what I want to go at is a little bit of a different angle, but it fills in. So having a contract with Samsung in the Minnesota area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would they be open to you having a contract in other states where you can start expanding plumbers like nationally?
Good question.
Good question.
He's a good question. I'm gonna call him on Monday.
Actually, let's go back how I got started with Samsung.
Yeah. How did that come about?
So, doing day-to-day jobs, getting involved in different businesses with my brother, sitting in the office, and I receive a phone call. And phone call is like, hey, we need some plumbing help. And I've went through so many scams. As soon as your phone number as a business person is online, you're getting scams every day. I hang up on the person. Okay. I get another call. He's like, hey, man. And this is what he says. This is not a scam. He's like, we need some help. Can you install a gas dryer for us? And it was like 30 minutes south of where I lived. I'm like, whatever. If I lose these $350, I'll lose it. Whatever, I'll just go do it. Right. I go do it. I text him the invoice, everything, and I'm like, I'm done. He texts me his credit card information. He's like, charge the card.
First of all, I just want to say, if anybody ever called me and said, this is not a scam,
right away. Instantly, yeah, that's a hard pass.
Really, and I would go so far as blocking the number. I always do that. This is not blocked. Dang.
So okay, he sends you the card. Okay, move on. So
he texted me the card, and even to this day, what I do is I just charge that card.
Who is this guy?
So he's.
Have you ever met the CEO of Samsung?
Chris Samsung.
No, he's not the CEO of Samsung. He works in the Minnesota office for Samsung.
Just a guy.
Just a guy.
And he just, how did he stumble upon you? Like, why you? Like, he cold called you?
I have good reviews on Google. He found me on Google Maps. He just next person he saw.
Wow. And now okay, so now what percentage of your business runs in terms of Samsung? Like how much?
75% for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's they're giving you a lot of work.
Yeah. I'm turning down. So I to this day I have a lot of customers that I went through in Minnesota. To this day I still get calls, and if it's somebody that I really, really know, I'll still go do it. But I'm turning away maybe like 60% of jobs right now.
Wow.
From little things that I just don't even want to waste my time.
Because I mean, I'm assuming because it's so standardized at this point.
It's
you know
so
how
easy.
to do it. Yeah, you've done it like couple hundred times already, and the thing is, you don't need any new. Yeah,
400 a week, right?
No, 400 a week.
No, you don't need new tools. I mean,
do you even need tools?
Yeah, you do.
You need tools.
Well, I'm saying like you plug in a
you
stove.
know nothing
You know what I mean?
about anything, dude.
I don't know how, dude. Like when I just
Zero
ordered
clue.
appliances. Like I was like, yeah, install it for me. I'm like, but like I thought you just like move it and plug it in. I just didn't want to carry the appliances.
Yeah. So why we went this route?
Yeah.
We keep our overhead super low.
Okay.
I have no expenses with Samsung. I have no expenses. My only expenses is going to be employees and gas. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. I don't buy anything. So for example, when I'm installing, we're going to throw in a gas dryer. I come there. I only use my gas. I already have my tools.
Right.
And anything that I need, for example, I need a gas line. I need a cord. I need whatever
It's
can go
charged.
tape, whatever. I charge the company.
And have you ever had like a, hey, you need to chill?
Nope.
Just whatever. I mean, I'm assuming.
How often do you
Samsung,
talk to
so-
this guy?
I don't want to.
No, you don't have to say his name. But like,
I
how
talk
often-
to him like maybe every 3 days, 4 days. Yeah.
And he just calls you,
Wow.
be like, "Good job."
No. So
How do you get the orders? How do you know who's coming in? Or
It's all emailed to me. So for example, the delivery company that does it, they'll be like,
Oh, you don't even have to bring the stuff in.
Bro,
Well, obviously you're not a moving
listen
company.
how easy this is. So XPO, one of the bigger,
Right.
you know XPO.
I do.
They bring the new gas dryers. They put it in the room for me.
Okay.
I come in. I disconnect the old dryer. I put it to the side. Put the new one in. They come back and pick up that dryer in the same room.
How easy is it to install a gas dryer? Just
About 10 to 15 minutes for me.
Because you gotta obviously you have to connect
But
it to the.
I'm not counting
vent
drive.
and stuff.
uh-huh.
I charge for drive as well. So for example, if I live down south, if I cross Highway 494, I'm charging $40. If I'm driving like 45 minutes, I'm charging $100.
So it's an interesting way. I like, it's an interest, especially like, so the business that we're in right now. It's obviously everyone last year had crazy margins. Everyone, right? And we're in a little bit of a recession right now. Whatever you want to call it.
Hey, it's redefined.
Sure. Yeah, 22 times in the last 24 hours. But straight up, no, straight up, like on the Wikipedia page, like it's been edited, like 22. Someone put anyway. Doesn't matter. But right now, margins are slim. Like I know lots of companies. They're definitely cutting down on costs any way that they can. I don't know why, but I feel like that's almost, I don't know. I don't want to say genius, not genius, because genius is one of those words, but like to have no overhead to run your, because you don't even have to have that big of a business if you're 100% profit.
Not 100%.
Are you at 100% profit?
I'm not 100% profit. I would
What's
say,
your cost?
I would say I'm at 90%.
90%.
That's a
profit.
crazy margin. That's a
and-
ridiculous margin.
In plumbing, it's
Tell
unheard of.
Samsung
That's what I'm
that
saying.
if they need work done in Nebraska, I'm gonna become your apprentice, bro.
Well, what
90% profit? Wow.
What is but I know plumbing has pretty high margins too.
Markups, yes. Overhead is high in plumbing.
What's the big cost in plumbing? Like what's the big that I don't
I'm
know
assuming
about.
the cost of replacing whatever you're.
You guys gotta understand, I'm a small company. For a
Right.
plumbing company, I'm very small.
Right.
If I'm taking a plumbing company that has 10 employees,
Mhm.
your overhead is insane. You have a shop, you have vans,
Mm,
you have a call center, somebody that's going to be picking up the phone.
yeah.
You have marketing. Marketing is insane.
Yeah.
And also your tools that you use and the supplies that you have.
Is that ever the goal? To get that big?
That is.
That is.
It is.
That
So
is.
you do want it, but okay. So back to what I just said. If you're running 90% profit,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't it just be smarter to just because you could double a 90% profit rather than take a 30% profit? That like
Is there
Look-
any work that you're not taking from them, or are you
There
taking
isn't. I'm taking all that
You're
they're
taking all
providing.
of it. Okay.
If there were a way to get into, like, for example, I started receiving a little bit of LG here and there.
oh my gosh.
If there was a possibility to go into, for example, if I could hire 4 more guys and I can go into all the appliances, for me that would be, I would be happy. I would be
Owning
Owning
satisfied.
that contract
that would be
incredible.
How do you have any, like, I mean, I'm assuming you haven't pursued it yet or anything like that, and I'm sure there's a plan to it, but like, do you have an idea of how you're going to be pursuing?
Yeah, I have currently a 1.5 to 2 year plan,
Mm-hmm.
and it's with a partner actually,
Oh, wow.
and it's with a person that that I trust, that's also a plumber, and we're in the works of making something a little bigger here.
Wow. That's a big ball to drop. I have no idea who you're talking about. I'm not gonna ask. You're gone, obviously,
You
but
have to
like.
say, what plumber?
Anyway, we could talk about that
Anyway.
off camera and stuff like that. But
Whatever.
that's crazy, man. But like, so you're basically what I was getting to is like, so you have a plan 1 to 2 years. Do you have any like long term like goals? You know, what are your aspirations? What do you see like the future of Dooty Calls? You know, and like one question I like to ask is, how are you gonna retire and Dooty Calls?
Goodness
still
gracious.
goes? Hey, I'm just.
That's a lot of questions.
I know.
let's-
So
let's-
loaded.
let's
We
hit-
can break
let's-
that down a little
Let's
bit.
hit future plans first. We'll get to retirement later.
That's just this is
Future-
how my brain always works.
As any company, you want to grow.
Yeah.
You want to impact the community. You want to. I have a passion for plumbing. I love plumbing. You know, and
Which is a weird passion. I'll say
this
that.
guy has a passion for printers, bro. Come on.
Hey, man.
That's true. That is true. Touche.
There's not a lot of guys who know that.
Besides me, do you know?
I walk around with him in his little warehouse, not little warehouse.
Not
He's
little,
like that P637334. This one is like, this is later jet, but this is only black and white. That's color. You want that one?
That's
bro,
true.
Why you
through like a
do
kid
that.
geeking through that
It
warehouse?
does do that.
why
yeah.
you throwing these numbers? You know, I have no idea.
So
But shout out to White Spider. We've been using your printers. We love them. Never had an issue.
Right on.
Best printers ever.
Right on. 15 years, same print. No, yeah.
But okay, future plans past the 2 years, or you know what? Like let's say you look back. What's the goal for Dooty Calls?
Goal for Dooty Calls is to make a company that people know, like, you know, your Roto-Rooter, like, you know, your companies
Yeah.
around town, Benjamin Franklin, stuff like that. And we want to have a reputation to follow it as well. A lot of plumbers have a bad reputation because they grab the money. They know to charge a lot and not do the job, you know? We want to change that and have a good faith in your plumbers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Plan for that is to make a good team, to retire that way, you know? So so people can be I don't know. That's probably the plan, is just to grow. That's for why would anybody want to grow? It's to make more money. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Why else would you want to grow?
Because I just love the headache.
Yeah.
It's the best.
I love
I
not
don't have
sleeping.
enough headaches.
I have 2 kids, but I work 12 hours a day.
Payroll,
Saturdays as
my
well.
favorite.
That's like
Do you know what the numbers are? We asked this. Well, we talk amongst ourselves on this. Do you have a number
4.
that you'd retire on? Like,
No, I don't. Me and Illy talked about this today.
Yeah.
If I were to
where you'd walk out on?
Yeah.
Like,
At this time, I mean, the Mega Millions is just about at $1 billion. So
no, I just got one. Someone just won it.
Someone
Stop.
won it?
That was me.
Illinois.
Illinois.
One person. It wasn't even split.
Nah.
One person won 1.24 billion.
Dang. We were talking about if we won the $1 billion lotto, which we didn't, or whatever. Because you guys, as you guys know, from my first
imagine
episode,
the taxes on that. Come on.
who cares?
Who cares?
I'll pay them. Hey, imagine getting taxed on free money. I'll still get. I mean, you just gave me the money.
That's
Sure.
crazy. Dude.
10. Me and Illy were actually talking about this right before.
Yeah.
10 million. I would you can't retire with that right now.
You don't think you could retire on 10 million? I think I could retire on 10 million. 10 million?
So
For the
if-
rest
if-
of your life,
Ed,
especially.
Okay, what is
If you get 10 million, you would stop working right now completely?
Who said retirement's stopping working?
You would stop working at 10
no,
million?
who said anything about stop working?
What does retirement mean for you? That's the first question.
Owning my time. I can own my time. That's retirement for me.
So to
No one
your
tells me
time. Your time only costs 10 million.
Technically, as a business,
Yeah. Yes. 100% yes. I would take 10 million and I would do whatever the flip I want, which I'd probably start another business. It's fun. What are you talking about? I think at a certain point, in my opinion, just from how I've what I've experienced, is when you get and I'm not wealthy by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, we're doing fine, but like when we finally hit like a certain like income level, my decisions begin to change completely, because I'm not worried about and yes, once I start hitting millions, like next week or 2 weeks, whatever, whenever that time comes, but like I'm sure things will change. But you begin to, I don't know, almost play with things, because like your decisions aren't based on I got to make the next dollar. Now again, my situation is a little different than entrepreneurs, because I get to be inside of a business and kind of play and tinker with things. But I don't know. I feel like you guys wouldn't walk away from what you're doing now. Watch, just hear me out.
No,
What
I'm
you're
gonna hear
doing now Someone gives you a $10 million check, says you have to leave this. You have to leave this. You go do whatever you want. You can go open another one if you want.
First of all, who? Okay, this is such an unreal.
I know.
Okay, look, for me, if someone gave me 10 million, like,
so you have to sell me the company, sell me everything.
No. Hey, first of all,
stop the cap.
Hold on. If somebody offers you $10 million for your company and they don't serve you a non-compete, bro, you're living in a dream world. If they don't serve me a non-compete, sure, I'll open up freaking Orange Spider Electronics right next door.
No. Let's say they serve you a non-compete.
Absolutely not. What is 10 million? I'm
think about shocked. I'm shocked to my core because for someone to say that, you would have to say that, watch, non-compete for 5 years. You think you're going to net, let's say it out here on the podcast, you think you're going to net more than $10 million in the next 5 years?
Yes.
Net?
Yeah, net. Hey, man, I have a plan for by the time, like, I
That's
don't
your plan net.
Yeah, because my gross is a lot higher
than me a job, dog. Give me a royalty, dog. The flip? What is this plan? What are you going to sell drugs?
But
it's good. Hey, we were talking about throw cocaine into the cartridges.
Gonna sell drugs or expand. No, but dude, like, okay, first of all, why are you in a company? First of all, hold on a minute.
I find your. What do you? Okay,
listen.
What would you value your company right now? I feel like these are conversations that we're not having.
Okay, first of all, I'm not gonna on film value my company for everybody. No, I like people not knowing that part, but I'd value it at a lot. But here's what I'm saying:
over 10 million?
No, I wouldn't value my company right now over 10 million net.
So you wouldn't take the check? You don't think you could do the same entrepreneurial thing with something else?
Hold on, let me finish my thought process here.
Okay,
all right,
finish the thought process.
So like Yuri was saying,
money over here.
Money. So I was telling, like you asked, like me and Yuri were talking. Sorry. If I won $1 billion, what would I do? I would make my dreams or my goals for my company happen faster. I would take that $1 billion and probably invest like 50 million in the next day.
Do you know how much 50 million is?
I sure do.
Of $1 billion? Of $1 billion.
Nothing.
That doesn't count.
I wouldn't stop doing what I'm doing. I would do more things, but I wouldn't stop.
You would do more. You wouldn't even.
I would do more. Yes.
Okay. You got. So I'm assuming we all basically started from zero, right? Let's call it. We started from zero. We had the options we had.
I started with $7,000 in debt, so I'm just saying.
Good point.
Whatever.
Okay.
You got to that point.
You start with what you start with, and you were playing by the rules and with the tools that you had, right? With the rules and the tools that you had, right from zero. You're telling me that if tomorrow you got to start at $1 million, you wouldn't play the game differently? Even if someone said you can't do what you just did, you got to redo something totally different, you wouldn't play the game different? I would play the game totally different. You know what to do. You know what to start. You'd start a different thing.
Okay, play the game or a new game?
A new game.
If I had to play a new game, yeah, I would. But I know my market.
Like I just said, you have to.
It's such an impossible situation.
That's not an impossible situation.
Here's $1 million. You have to start something new.
I said 10 million.
I wonder what I'm going to do.
No, I said 10 million. You said you wouldn't take it.
For $10 million. Okay, if someone gave me $10 million and they're like, you have to non-compete, you can't do what you're doing anymore. No, because I value, especially with the things that I have in the works, I value it at a lot higher than that.
You don't think, okay, I just find that, okay.
Hey, bro.
I think, okay.
Build different. What can I say, Ed? Build different. Hey, man, that's the kind of person I am, bro. I believe that much in myself.
We have to have a different conversation because I feel like you're acting like we just talked about this aspect on his business. If you have a 90% margin, you know how much, what's the turnover? What's the revenue to make your 10 million? What's the revenue?
55.
Exactly. You know, it's a lot easier to take 10 and just take 10 and then start something new than make $55 million.
Okay, but see,
I understand everyone's capable here. I get it. It's impressive. But like, you wouldn't take the free lunch?
See, no, dude. You're talking about like, hey, you have to start something new. Yes, cool. I can make 10 million and I can make a lot more with 10 million cash right now. Sure. But like, dude, like, first of all, I didn't just start this industry just to get like freaking go baller, you know? There's like when we had the episode about White Spider, there's a lot more goals behind
True.
White Spider besides money aspect.
True. And how much better of a company could you make if you had 10 million? With all of the things, not
brand new
baller
company?
moves. Brand new company, brand new employees, brand new everything. You got to leave everyone.
It's just such an impossible situation.
It's not an
like,
impossible situation. If someone came to
Yuri,
you and valued your company like that,
what do you
fine,
think?
screw this. Yuri, our guest, sorry, my co-host has no idea what he's talking about. Yuri, what would you do?
If somebody
Be
offered-
honest.
For plumbing, it's different.
No, it's not. For printers, it's different. For trucking,
bro,
it's different.
how many printer companies do you know around town or around in America?
I know two.
Yeah, him and his cousin.
Yeah.
Me too, bro. Me too.
But okay. Okay.
It's such a unique business. For me in plumbing, somebody comes in tomorrow, offers me 10 million.
You have to start something new.
10
Or nothing. Like start something new or do nothing or whatever. It's your money.
10 million is more than my company's worth. I would take the 10 million.
Why?
He just said it's more
I
than
know,
his
I
company's
know,
worth.
I know. But your reason was, hey, 10 million is also more than my company's worth, but 5 years? No, screw it.
The thing is, for me, it's going to be a lot easier to start a new plumbing company
You can't do plumbing.
for 5 years.
No.
For 5 years. You can't do
Yeah.
you can't do plumbing for 5 years. Yeah.
I've been in construction for 10 years. I can start a real estate company and invest my stuff and stuff like that for the next 5 years.
For the next 5 and then you could go back to plumbing,
Yeah.
right? So tell him why his plan makes no sense. You don't think you could do a parts company? You don't think you could do something else and go back into printers if you already know the connections?
First of all,
Our sizes are
the whole
different.
5-year thing never came into play.
Yeah, we did. Yes, I did. I
When?
said a non-compete for 5 years. That's what I said.
Not compete for 5 years.
And you said, no, I'm taking the 10. Or sorry, I'm not taking the 10.
It's just, okay, number one, like, what are you also giving up? Okay.
5 years.
No, but you're also giving up all the connections, learning, being in the industry,
True.
you know?
True.
You know what I mean? Like,
You could do a lot with 10 million as well. You could buy connections.
I can hire you as a coach because you know so much.
Hey, CMGLLC. Look it up.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that later. We'll
Okay.
bring that topic
That
up because
hypothetical question, I feel like
I just want to put my thought in there because it's like, for you got a number. 10 million, somebody could buy you out. So if
10
anybody
million,
wants to
but
buy
hey,
this super genius out for 10 million,
you're not
come offer
even
it.
buying yourself out, though. You're
Ellie, we had a different question.
We did.
We
you
said,
went so south,
yeah.
bro.
That's
Ed,
a
for
good point.
10
I
million,
apologize.
I'd sell 10 million. I wouldn't retire.
Yeah.
That was the whole question.
But it depends on what your definition of retirement. What is your definition of retirement?
Your definition of retirement is managing my time. As a business owner, I manage my time.
Not manage, own.
I own my time.
So that you could retire.
I could retire. Then I'd be screwed.
So that's my point. When I say own my time, I'm saying no worries, no cares. I don't have to say
For how many years? I can
For the rest of my life,
for the rest of your life.
you set up and like owning a business. That's why owning a business is so sexy. But this
It's
podcast is all about revealing the not sexy part of owning a business or starting a business.
Yeah, the
So-
dark side of business
But if
ownership.
you get a successful business going, and if it's going and you could actually step away from it, you have now owned your time. Like we have a guy your cousin. I would say he's a prime example of someone who owns his time. Straight up owns his time.
Yeah.
So like that's my definition. Like he could retire tomorrow, nothing would change, even if his
Everybody has a different price tag on their time too. You know,
True.
some people are good with 5,000-6,000 a month. Some people are not. You know, so
That's true.
for
That's a good
everybody,
point.
it's a different.
Sorry, I derailed that, but I thought the $10 million question.
it's just not a big enough number for me to even consider changing anything in my life. Just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to come off like super like wealthy. I don't have 10 mil in the bank. I'm not making 10 million, but like that number is way too low for me. What kind of entrepreneur has a price tag of 10 million and I'm good to go?
You can still be an entrepreneur. You're not selling yourself.
Hey, when I started this company, especially as I developed as who I am, my goals changed. I realized what I'm capable of. I realized what I'm able to do.
Hey,
Wait 5 years. So would you take 10 million today, or would you take 10 million plus like learning a whole bunch of stuff in business, learning markets, all that stuff, all the connections?
How long?
No, 5 years.
I would take option 2.
Me too. because that's my
Can I
option.
not
That-
learn? Can
hey,
I not learn if I'm going to? I feel like it's such
You
a
assume,
crazy
you
question.
assume,
It's such
you-
a crazy question.
it is such
It
a
is
crazy, that's-
question. I guess
I'm
that's
just
Who
saying,
asked
like,
the
That's true.
question?
That's the question. That's a good point. That's a good point. Okay, sorry. We can get back to this hypothetical later. But in terms of retirement, to kind of bring us all back in.
Man, that went long on a tangent. I don't even know where we're at.
No, I think I
No, it's valid. I'm so lost where we're at right now.
feel like I find such a disagreement with you, which I'm surprised I am. But
So after the cameras turn off, Ed, me and you are gonna go out and fight in the front of the studio
all right,
Why?
okay, sounds good. No,
for 10 mil.
Okay.
for 10 mil.
No, it's a joke.
So,
Yuri, we're not gonna
My mother-in-law actually this week is like, for some reason I thought business owners don't work as hard or don't work as much.
Oh,
You know, she was over in Minnesota because Nastia had the
Yeah,
baby,
yeah.
and she sees I'm working 12 hours, 13 hours a day. And she's like, for some reason, I thought people that own businesses don't work as much. I'm like, well, if I wouldn't work as much, like I wouldn't have no business to run. You know, like,
Yeah.
people think that owning a business is sitting at home and collecting the checks. It's
bro.
totally different.
going to a coffee shop, working on your computer for 2 hours.
So
E-commerce.
can I jump into this? Remember we were talking about the TikTok side of things?
Yeah.
Why? Why did you start that? How do you think that's going to help? What is it? Is it a fun thing, or is it more of like a creative outlet that you're thinking?
For me, like I said, I really want to be known in Minnesota as the plumbing company. So when that's the reason why I chose the name Dooty Calls.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people associate it with booty calls. That was not the whole mission.
No, that just hit me.
I have people, contractors that I work with, and in the back of the shirt it says Dooty Calls. They would take a piece of tape and make a B on the B. You know?
Nice, yeah. You
But
know Yuri.
the whole thing is like doo-doo, you know, like poop calls.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
And duty is in you have to
Right.
go and do your work. And that's the reason I came with the name, so people remember my name pretty easily, you know. Oh, duty calls, and stuff like that. So, and number one and number two is just slogans that people will remember. So
Right.
in golf courses, like I actually said it in a few ads this year.
At the golf course.
Yeah.
Can you tell? This is like a side note, just because like I've had companies reach out and ask like, "Hey, do you want your name on a golf course?"
Mhm.
And I'm like, "No." Like, it just does it work for you?
I
mean, okay, that's just you. You
Yeah.
just want brand awareness. Has
I
it
just
has
want
it turned?
awareness.
Do you know if it's directly turned over any revenue for you?
Has anyone
no
said
zero.
Oh,
Zero?
okay.
Zero. But
How much does that cost?
like $1,000.
Yeah,
For how long is it?
It's for the
for the
season.
season. Yeah.
For the season. It's a good way to make some money as a golf course.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, but it's a good way to,
Yeah, I'd go
to show
golf-
my name to other people.
yeah.
So
Kind of like the purpose of a billboard nowadays.
Right.
I mean, you ain't gonna generate sales off a billboard anymore.
but
But
just so people recognize, you know, you want to get that recognition. Probably one of the most important things in my business. So how often do people think of plumbers? Not that often, but when they do think of, oh, my toilet, we don't do drain cleaning, stuff like that.
don't even ask.
Don't even call, yeah. But like when people do think of a plumber, I want them to think of duty calls.
Hmm.
So.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
you talked about this before, but I find it interesting that you took a take on it. You said your mother-in-law had like a misconception,
Mhm.
right? What is a misconception you think about like you could either go apprenticeship or plumbing or business owning? Either one of those three.
Give
What
me
is-
prices.
Say what?
Give me prices.
Give you prices?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Who gets paid what?
Sorry,
I'm
I'm not
confused.
following.
What was the question? Ask the question.
No. I'm saying what's a misconception that either in the plumbing industry that you see that like people, because like watch everyone thinks business owners collect the check, right? That's a
Mhm.
complete misconception. We
Yeah.
usually work 12-hour days, and you are most likely not going to make it. Everyone's fighting to make it, right?
Mm.
What is a misconception either about being an apprentice, in an apprenticeship, or plumbing, or owning a business that you have a take on?
What have you experienced? I guess like what is something that like everybody assumed about plumbing or about your business or that you've experienced that's just bullcrap or that's just duty?
Just duty.
Is that right? What you're
Yes,
asking? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Spot
So, as apprentice, you have way less headache. You're not worried about much. You're not worried about screw ups. You're not worried about messing up.
How much do you get paid as an apprentice?
Right now, if you go for any company in Minnesota, you're gonna get 20 to start. As a apprentice, yeah.
Is this okay? I feel like people will be wondering, the viewers at home, how much does the smell play into your job?
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I think plumbing, I think dirty. I think one level below that. I think literally like that, like once a week, twice a week, or once a month, twice a month. You get the whole load of crap hit your feet or your shirt or something.
Nah.
Like, does that happen? Am I tripping here? Is this
It's a misconception. So
That's what I was going for. So
I don't do drain cleaning.
Okay. Did you ever?
Never in my life.
I've
done it a few times in my life.
Right. Okay.
But you got to understand there's different drain cleaning. So in your house, everything goes into a bigger pipe. It starts from small. From your toilet, it goes 3-inch to 4-inch, and from your kitchen sink, 2-inch and bigger, and everything collects into one pile. So your kitchen can get clogged, you know?
Right.
It can still emit sewer gases, but it's not going to be like, I'm digging in poop, you know?
Right.
To be a roto-rooter, to be like a drain cleaning guy, you don't have to have a license anywhere. You can start your own drain cleaning company and go.
You get $10 million and you can start.
$10 million, I got it.
But to say I've never been in a situation where it stinks, it's not true. My boss used to walk in and it smells like money, and he would have that, like, you know, that Russian accent. He like smells like money.
My dad always said that too when he goes to Smithfield, where they slaughter pigs. Dude, it smells like straight crap, bro. He's like, that's the smell of money right there. Bro, I don't know.
Yeah, so every time I'm in a stinky situation, I do the same thing. It smells like money.
I have another question. I find it interesting for business owners because running a business and doing the business is two totally different things. So like cleaning a printer and running a business that cleans a printer and refurbishes a printer, totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Do you enjoy the doing or the managing of the business more?
I would call it 50-50. There's some things about the managing I love, some that I don't, and there's some things in the plumbing that I love and some I don't.
Because if you're going to go, because we've talked to another person in construction, they were actually more on the, I actually like working with my hands more than I like managing. So like my future, I see more management. But if you're saying I'm going to build up a company,
yeah,
I doubt it that you're going to be more hands-on. You'll have to probably
it would be
manage.
more managing, and the business partner we would figure out a way to have him do more of this stuff because I love doing stuff with my hands. I love learning new things. For example, working in the house, like, I don't know, never installed this faucet before, never installed a shower valve. Like, how the heck does it work?
Going viral on TikTok.
If I could go back in time, and if I could go back when I'm 18 and know the things that I'd know right now, I'd probably go into school for plumbing engineering. Design the systems of how the house
understand how everything.
Yeah. And a plumbing engineer is higher than your inspectors here in town, for example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's someone who like really knows.
Yeah, really knows. So an inspector says no, you hire a plumbing engineer. Plumbing engineer says yes, they go with the engineer.
That overrides it.
So that was going to be one of the questions I wanted to jump back to. You decided to go the route where you were just an apprentice for 5 years, right? Versus being an apprentice, half school, half work. Why?
Yeah.
Why not go to college and work half?
So you save a year by working for somebody right away.
But you also
hold on. You go to school for 6 years?
Yeah.
6 years?
Yeah.
You a doctor?
Oh, you make as much. Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a fantastic.
Dude.
Well, hold up. What do you? How? Give me the years. What do you do?
So
no bachelor's is that long.
So if for plumbing, if you're working and doing schooling, 5 years. So there's 2 licenses in plumbing.
Yeah.
5 years for journeyman and 6 years for master. If you're working for somebody, it's 4 years for journeyman and 5 years for masters.
Oh. I just don't know why you would ever go to school then. What's the benefit?
So, for example, there's benefits. Listen to this. I go work with the company that I started. Mm-hmm. Right now, most of their jobs is new construction. So they have a contract, for example. 500 homes.
Right.
They have to complete rough and everything. And you as an apprentice, you come and you're doing the same thing over and over again. So every day you have that same job, pulling water lines, and you're doing that for years. And when your test comes, your test is not going to be just pulling water lines. Your test is going to be, do you know the whole plumbing system? Do you know gas? Do you know stuff like that? So people that go to school, they get to learn on the commercial side of it, on the residential side of it, and stuff like that.
Oh, that's interesting. Would you go? Did you already answer that? Sorry.
Yeah, if you would go to school, right?
You would go to school?
For engineering, yeah. For plumbing engineering.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
So
okay, but if it was strictly plumbing, would you go to school?
No,
definitely
not.
But you get a broader, I guess, education overall. Do you think that'd bring you any more value than it does now? Well, I mean, you're like a decade in, so it doesn't.
So
really
I guess at this point you've learned everything that you would have learned anyway. But
There's all like any company. There's always something new to learn.
right,
And to say that I know everything, it would be a big lie.
right.
Things that I don't know, I love to research
Mhm.
and learn and grow from there.
You know, it'd be such a good like YouTube or TikTok idea. This is so left field, but like, if you took like, are you confident in your skills?
Yeah.
Are you the best?
Yeah.
Okay. So check this out. What if you like made like a 5-minute video or a 10-minute video, Dooty Calls versus Roto-Rooters, or just pick a company that you compete with, and then who does the best and who does it the quickest. I think that would be so interesting, just head-to-head competition. You know,
What if you lose?
That's why I asked. Hey, that's why I asked.
That's
Are you
free advertisement for reason why not to take us.
I'm sure there's. I said I'm the best because I'm confident in myself. Like you said, you're confident in yourself. Is there
Yeah.
people better than me? Of course, there's people
Right.
better than me. You know?
I'd like to see them though. Where you
Come on back.
My old boss, the fastest worker and precise worker. There's fast workers, crappy workers, and there's fast workers, good workers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can be fast, but if you're making 5 mistakes on the way, slow down.
Yeah.
You know, or if you're slow and you're taking your time, you can speed up. Like you start playing with your time. You know.
Yeah. We talked a little bit earlier about, sorry, Ed.
No, you're good. You're good. You
We
got
talked a little bit earlier about how you've never had an apprentice under you, but you've tried.
So I was just
Mhm.
gonna go.
Why? What happened? You don't have to give names, and obviously, you know,
Yeah,
feels
I've had,
comfortable again,
like,
but like,
Five people that went through.
wow.
The longest that survived was probably 4 months. Yeah.
What do you put them through, man?
What are they?
You really put them through the put them through the crap, huh?
put them through the duty.
For me, it was a change of strategy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, I don't want to have an apprentice right now. Screw that. I have like in town, I have like 10 to 15 plumbing friends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a big project. I give them a holler. Hey guys, I need a day or two. Come and give me a help. They come and help me out. So for me, financially, it makes more sense to hire somebody that knows something. I pay them a lot more, but they know what they're doing.
But you could you get specialized work when you need it on kind of on call.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
sub.
Even if it's, for example, it could be after hours or sometimes people are at home. I can use them because from my community over there,
Right.
we have probably like 15 people that plumb.
So basically,
called?
whenever you
Plumb?
need help, you'll plump.
Plumb.
Plumb.
You subcontract out your work, basically, right?
Yeah, just pay them like that under their company names because most of them are going to be.
So 4 months, longest it lasted. What happened there? Hey, if you don't want to say, just say so.
It could
We'll
be
cut
one
it.
of the
Yeah.
5. We don't know which one. So
Yeah, we don't know. Which
they
one.
also don't know which one.
Let's just
either.
say a lot of younger generation doesn't have the drive to do
Mhm.
the hands-on stuff.
Gotcha.
I'm young myself,
Mhm.
30, you know.
Yeah.
29.
But a lot of people don't want to put in the work and they just want to get all the money.
Mm.
So you start
The modern day entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Welcome to 2022.
Welcome, Illy.
So yeah, you start paying the person a week later.
Yeah.
Hey, when's my raise coming? You know, I was
Yeah.
like, brother, what raise? Like, I lost money on you already.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I don't tell that to people, of
Yeah.
course, you know, but
Yeah, dude, that's actually something I'm super passionate about. We were having dinner with some guys, and I was like a little bit going off. Like, people want to be paid more to do more, but like, dude, if you want to show a company that you deserve more, do more than what you're worth, you know? And like, I know it gets crapped on. Like, there's always those videos, but like, if you plugged yourself into a company you believe, number one, for example, you want to grow into a company, you want to be an entrepreneur, you know, and you want to show your value, do more than what you're worth. And then you will get paid. You will get overpaid because you've made yourself invaluable. You know what I mean? And that just drives me nuts when I see people are like, "Oh man, I want to make more." Okay, do more, but they won't do more unless they're paid more. You know?
I'll tell you this: if I had a person that would show effort and that would show that they actually want to do this, I wouldn't have fired them. I would have still had them work. For example, we just finishing up this house over here in Lincoln, and the person that came to help me, I paid him a certain amount. At the end, I gave him a bonus.
Right.
Even though that was not discussed because he has his value in his work, you know.
It's rewarded for it.
It's rewarded for
yeah.
it, yeah.
You know, I want to jump in here. So we talk about this like next person or whatever, and the actually interesting thing about this podcast I don't even think we've ever even talked about this, but you're the entrepreneur. I'm definitely the entrepreneur. I don't own a business, but I work in a company in the same way as, I'm not going to say, well, no, yeah, I will say it, as the owner, right? I do every single thing there. I take on entire departments and kind of, it's not what I say goes, but better believe that it's going to get signed off by me or him. And obviously he has last say, but I got a lot of trust there. So what I see, and I always look for this because, like you said, you have to provide more value. I was underpaid for a long time. Also, at the start, I sucked. So I was getting overpaid really for everything I was doing. I mean, I was getting paid
I think that's everybody.
like 15. Well, I didn't know. I was like 18 or something like that. But there was a certain time when it switched, and I was getting grossly underpaid, like grossly. And the thing is, no one asked me to go there. No one asked me to come in. No one asked me to work more. No one even asked me to ask the questions that I was asking. But here's my point when it comes to small businesses, especially because what I see is small businesses always, I hear this from every single person, is they're always looking for that person, right? They're always looking for that person. Man, if I could only have. So what my mind is constantly doing, because again, I'm managing departments on my end, not that they're huge or anything. Well, they're not small either, but from that version of, hey, who are you looking for? What I would say is, what is the owner or what is the company? Does the company have a mentality? Now, I understand it's a smaller company. So in terms of company culture, it's really you and then a few employees. But does the company have a very straightforward said, hey, this is offered? Because a lot of times, especially what I hear from small business owners, they just like, people want it, but you're expecting someone to care about it as much as you, and no one will ever care about it as much as you. Mm-hmm. So how, as a business, should we orientate ourselves, right? Because I think you've succeeded. I don't want to say you've succeeded at it just yet, but I think you've put that in your business, right? Where it's very vocal of like, hey, it's not like more work is even open here. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, if you want to run this thing, this conversation has to be very, very, you can't just give it to everyone.
Yeah. But it's open to everyone.
But it's open to everyone from the start. If the person shows a glimpse of, hey, I care about this even a little, I find it, in my opinion, I find it on the owner to make sure that it happens, to get the person motivated. Mm-hmm. They have to be taught and they have to be told what to do, because like the people that I have under me, you calling them an idiot would be stupid of me, because they don't know what to do exactly. They have never been taught it. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. The thing is, like, to kind of, am I interrupting you?
Yeah. So I bring all this into kind of a question, and I'll take it from both of you guys. How do you make that environment? Like, how do you, as an owner, especially because your company's like it's not huge, but you have plenty of employees, but you still have to have a similar mentality, I'm assuming. What kind of mentality is of you as an owner? How do you look for that person? Or are you looking for that person, or is it, maybe thinking deeper, do I have to split my work up and find 5 type of thing? Have those thoughts been? Because at the end of the day, every business owner can only blame themselves for not succeeding.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, everybody probably knows their strengths and weaknesses. As a business owner, I know what I'm good at, what I can work on, and stuff like that. If I have an employee that's showing that he is striving to fill that position, I don't see a business owner that wouldn't put him in that position. If I have to chase my employee and tell him, hey, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, that's not the person that I want to have in that position.
True.
I want to see it come out of the person itself. When I see it come out, when I see that sparkle, as people say it, when I see that desire for the person to fill that void, I'm going to have somebody do it that can do it better than me.
Yeah. Okay. What's your take on it?
Very similar. First of all, I don't think you can. We're talking about somebody to take over my position, right?
No.
What am I? What is it specifically? What are they taking over? Like someone like a rock star to run the company?
No. You're asking for a miracle there. Really, you are, because the chances someone's going to be just as good as you, just have just enough time and have just enough drive to run the company. That's dang near almost impossible, unless you give them the company. In that case, you're no longer,
right.
But I'm talking about, how do you find competent employees so that you can get, take your hat off and give it to them. Say, okay, I'm not gonna have to worry about this. From that point on, how do you find that person?
So for me, similar to what he said, but it was a little different. Like the way I did it is I kind of like saw, first of all, you as a business owner, like especially a small business owner, since you're working so closely so closely with these employees, I mean, you're gonna see how they work, you're gonna see how they act, how they talk, and one of your skills as an owner should be to be able to notice, like when somebody is like, okay, hey, like they have a head on their shoulders, they know what they're doing, they can take on responsibility, you know. And so like the way I did it is like, for my, I don't know how many supervisors do I have? Four supervisors. For my supervisors, I didn't make them supervisors until like even recently, you know. Like for me, I just put a little bit more onto their plate, and basically I would want to see what their breaking point is. You know, I'm not trying to manipulate them or anything like that, but I'd put a little bit more, and I'd see how can they handle this. Can they handle this? Can they do this? And as time goes on, and you do that 2 or 3 times, you put a little extra work on their plate, and they're like, yep, okay, got it, and they do it well. Then I'm like, okay, they have the potential. I give them the title, and when you give somebody a title, especially in a small business, I mean, you can't expect somebody to be like, here, be a operations manager, and you expect them to know how to do it. No. You got to cultivate that person. You got to invest your time into that person, because your supervisors, your people that are going to be taking these parts of your company, like because you wear many hats as an owner, you know, if they're going to be wearing these hats, you know, they're going to be representing you directly, you know. So it's definitely a thing of like spending time with each one, you know, whether that's even just like, you know, an hour out of their day, you know, you go on an errand with them, you talk to them, you basically like an apprentice, you know, but without it being like, What I from like the internal view, and like and a lot of this I find myself doing as well inside the company. Our company's a little bit bigger. Well, not, I mean, in terms of employees, not that much bigger than yours, but well, I mean, considering but I mean, but the thing is, what I see, what makes it easiest on any owner to do it is to compartmentalize your work. Make it not a billion, but you doing work, sitting down and like finding out, hey, for me to complete this one task, how many things do I do? Now you might guess 6 or 7, you might guess 9, but you know things and you automatically assume things that you didn't even have to check. How many does it actually take to do it precisely and accurately? And then when you compartmentalize it, then you say, okay, this is all the tasks. Then I'm saying, okay, this you can group, this you can group, this you can group. One person can do this, one person can, like easily, like a minimum wage person can do this. Like, and this is how I think, straight up. I could hire someone minimum wage to answer a phone call, plug it into a system, put it on a schedule. That's simple, right? Because you're not doing anything complex. You don't have to think. You can just do this, right? Now, this is different, again, when you're doing like actual physical labor, but the work's still the same. Teach me how to do one thing instead of, you know, because it actually really works with what you're doing. Really works with what you're doing. You're doing one thing, basically, right? Why not? I mean, have you not looked to like be like, just all you're doing is just microwaves, or all you're doing is just fridges? Like
for me, I have to have a plumber. I can't have anybody mess around with gas. That's not a plumber.
Oh,
that's very dangerous, and I would never put a homeowner in that situation.
Well, they could be a plumber or an apprentice, right? But like,
no, not an apprentice, plumber.
They have to be a plumber.
Yeah, you can't touch gas.
Is that like a legal thing, or is that
legal
personal?
Thing, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So what about if the owner of the house tries to touch the gas in their house?
Homeowner has.
They could do whatever they want.
Well, it's their house.
Yeah.
I mean, they.
Well, I just want to make sure.
They can.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, wait a minute.
Well, no, but I'm saying like something goes wrong, it's on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing is, like, obviously every business has its own thing. But what I would suggest for because what I saw is that there was that opportunity. The owner was open to it, to someone just like every other owner. But one thing that we try to do a lot, and I try to do this, is make your work so simple where you could straight up offload it on one person. And what that does is that gives one person not an overload, because I feel like a lot of times people want more money because they're getting paid, like, or they want it, like, they want to be paid for more than what they do, right? But if you say, hey, this is your job description, this is all you do, if you can do it easy, I'll add something to it, right? I'll add something to it here, there, whatever. It's a small ad, right? And if that person ever walks out, it's super simple to replace because it's one cog, like it's one little piece, it's one, reception, like, you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. That may be business specific to people.
Yeah, I feel like that is very business
You
specific.
think?
I do.
Yeah.
You don't
I
think
don't think I'd be able to do that in my company
Yeah.
at all.
And to add on, like, you're also like, that can actually bite you into being more of an overhead.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you
Think?
because, okay, so minimum wage is what, $9?
I don't know.
Here,
Let's call it 15.
15.
15. Okay, whatever. Minimum wage, right? It's not $15.
Let's just call it 15 across the board.
Okay, let's say $15. Okay, and you pay one person to open the lid. $15.
That's not what I
No,
mean.
but you're saying like break one job down into multiple steps.
It has to make obvious sense. It has to make sense, right? But it only makes sense. Any business only makes sense if the margin's high enough. We just talked about a business that has a really good margin.
Yeah, but
If your margin's high, you can really start playing with it. You really can, because either you because you can get rid of all the margin, not all of it, but you could even keep 10%. But at that point, think about it: the emails that come in, and then you either go or you have someone else go.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't have to be you, right?
Yeah,
technically.
yeah.
So and it's not like if something goes wrong, also not a plumber, right? The one big overhead that you would have is the fact that you would have to have a certified plumber. I mean, I don't know how hard it is to. I mean, if you offer the right amount of money, I guess, right?
I don't know. With trades, personally, I think like it's hard to keep work just because everybody's like, I'm just gonna go be my own tradesman, and then they try it for 2 years, they fail, and then they come back and they work for a huge company that pays $55.
You got to be signing no competes.
Yeah. You sign a lot of no competes? No.
I didn't have good work to sign it with.
Just please go compete. Go to our competitor, please.
Yeah.
Please
Make
go,
me look good.
go to the competitor. Well, yeah, I don't know, but I haven't run enough businesses, but the one that I have, there has enough things that aren't function, like even in the mechanic side of things, you can really break stuff down, and it has to make financial sense, yes, but I find the big misconception that business owners have is like, I'm looking for that one guy. I'm looking for those two guys, or looking for anyone good. No, dude, like there's a way to do it. Make it so easy and so attractive to people, because you're thinking as an owner, employee mindset is totally different. Like if the job is so easy, why wouldn't I stay? Type of thing. If a guy only had to do microwaves, if a guy only had to, obviously it's different, gas, I get it. But like, I don't know. I feel like there's a definite, like, write it out, find what the most expensive roles are.
I don't want to make easy jobs for people. That's not my intention. I want to make a job where somebody can succeed, and where somebody can actually put in effort into who they really are. If I just make a easy job for somebody, nobody's gonna want to stick around at that job.
Exactly.
It's gonna be so boring.
It's a double-edged sword. Like, dude, like people
True.
will leave jobs like data entry, bro. Huge turnover rate because, dude, it's so boring,
Yeah.
True.
And it's like that's a dead end job.
And I don't want to keep on hiring people that will replace that. It makes sense maybe for different businesses, but I don't want to be hiring a plumber every 2 weeks because all he has to do is change toilets.
I don't know. I feel like if you compensate it correctly, there are definitely people that love doing one thing. Like, think about it. You sometimes like run into these businesses or these people that like do one thing, and they're like you run into these small businesses, and they charge nothing for what they do. You're telling me that person wouldn't have just plugged into someone's business and done it for someone the same way if they paid them the right amount? Like, they definitely exist. I feel like, I don't know, just because when you start saying, I want to find one like person when they can actually do and make their job, that's a manager role. That's someone that you're like, hey, this is a future of my company kind of person. But like, that's so hard to find. Like, that's so hard to find. I totally agree. That is difficult.
Yeah, but like, we're gonna hop off this topic
Yeah,
here.
sorry,
but like, one thing I just want to say, but like, that also is gonna go into your company culture. Because if you're hiring people to work a dead end job,
It's not dead end.
it's very dead end.
It's not dead end.
Hey, all you're gonna do for the rest of your career here is
Stop.
just change this one toilet, or just answer this one email. You know, it's very dead end.
It's not.
It's very monotonous.
It is repetitive, but repetitive you can duplicate and you can grow. You
Why do you
can't grow
think-
custom. It's hard. It's way harder to grow custom.
I don't know. All I'm saying is, like, this is obviously an extreme, but there's a reason why dentists and accountants have the highest suicide rate. It's because of very monotonous, constant, same work. Same teeth, same numbers. I mean, like, no wonder.
True, but
I just feel like that
That's for you.
that negativity is going to spread.
that's true.
And one of the biggest reasons why I stuck to plumbing is because of the change of scenery every day and something different.
Do you ever see anything pretty crazy? I mean, you have to interact with a lot of.
Oh, I got a good story.
Yeah?
We're all ears.
Well, Ed, you guys probably heard it, but I'm still gonna share it. So, I know. I'm friends with a builder in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Matt, and his cousin is Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon,
The
Jeff
race-
Gordon,
the driver, NASCAR driver.
That's
Cool.
That's his
sick.
cousin. And so Matt recommended me to this one guy. He's selling a house in Minnesota, and he gives me a call. Hey, we were doing our final inspection. And I filled in the gas. Can you come and see? And I have like a scanning tool to see where gas is coming from. So I come over.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
This is,
So I come over there and I start scanning. I'm like, hey man, I can't find anything. And as soon as I walk in, he's like, a dude is probably in his 50s, like late 40s, and he's like big. Like you can see this boy works out.
Like he's built. Huh?
He's
Right.
built, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I'm just doing, and I'm like, hey man, I'm just still gonna take everything off, retighten it for you, just to make sure
Mhm.
that the house inspector doesn't say anything again. And we're just making small talk. And I'm like, are you a policeman? Are you in the military? He's like, nah.
How dare you assume?
He's like, no,
Especially
I'm
in
not."
Minnesota.
I'm like, you look like somebody that would actually be like in the military. He's like, no, I'm not military. I'm like, FBI? He's like, no. He's like, Secret Service.
No way.
Yeah.
Such a
and
crazy thing.
and I'm like, no way, Secret Service. You know, like
Yeah.
you hear about
Like
it and stuff like
stop
that.
the cap. You know, there's no way.
He's like, yeah, I'm serious. I'm Secret Service. And we start talking. We keep on going. And he's a recruiter in that station in Minnesota. He's pretty high up there. So he got a higher position. He moved to Florida. Already he moved, but at that time he was still in Minnesota. And we keep on talking. And I'm like, and he's like, Yuri, are you from Russia? I'm like, no, Ukraine. He's like, thank God. He's like, guess who I saw 2 weeks ago? I'm like, who? He's like, Zelensky.
Wow.
I'm like, nah. And Zelensky is the president of Ukraine. I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah. Like,
So Ilya was like, Ilya did not believe this story at all. So Ed. I'm sorry, Ed. And he pulls out the phone and he starts showing pictures. It's
Yeah.
not like he has with Zelensky. And he's like, every time Zelensky travels, for example, he leaves Ukraine, USA sends the Secret Service as well to help out Ukrainians. So he was in charge of Zelensky to head out. And during that time, Ukraine was in the war for already a month and a half. And Biden went to Poland at that time.
mhm.
And I'm like, so you went with Biden to Poland? He's like, yeah, we went with Biden. And I'm like, how'd you get to Ukraine? How'd you see Zelensky? He's like, we drove from Poland to Kiev. I'm like, no way. How'd you get like, and I'm like, who'd you guys take there? And he's like, can't tell you that.
Oh my goodness, that's so wild, dude. Can you imagine?
So-
Hey, bro, I'm just changing your gas, man. I don't want to know all this. Hey, man, don't offload on me like that. Dang, that's wild.
Didn't he
man.
end up offering you a job or something?
So yeah, we get done, and he comes and brings in this knife,
Yeah.
and it says "Охрана безпеки президента
yeah.
Ukraine." It's like the Secret Service of the Ukrainian president, and he shows me that knife. It's so sick that Zelensky gave him.
Wow.
I don't know if he personally gave him, but I know he got it from Ukraine when they were there, either from the secret agents or whatever, from Zelensky.
That's cool.
And me and him are talking, and I'm like, man, that would be so cool to be an agent. You know, like you feel badass around this kind of people.
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah.
no. And he's like, yeah, if you ever looking, I'm like, man, I'm way too fat to be a Secret Service. He's like, give us 6 months, you'll see.
They do training in the Secret Service like
Yeah,
before
bro.
you go in?
I'm sure. Well, I'm assuming.
No, I
they're
just
not-
thought they like pick up like SEALs or like Marines, and they're like, you're trained, you can be a Secret Service. But so there's like
Yeah,
a boot
Secret
camp.
Service is Green Beret as well, I believe. So
Oh wow.
Yeah, no. There's just an online course. You
Hey,
just-
man.
Yeah, just-
CIA now.
It's
Or
not-
sorry,
Do
Do
Secret
you
Service
believe
now.
that you have a six pack on your body?
So I showed Ed the text message right
Yeah,
after
straight up.
I sent him an invoice. He's like, hey Yuri, if you're thinking of changing careers, keep my number. That's what he said.
Wow.
So if I want to reach Zelensky, I know who to call.
Dang.
I mean, basically, I'm best friends with the president.
It's
of
kind
Ukraine.
of messed up. So tall people in this world get offered to be in the
That
Secret
is true.
Service, but
That-
short
that's-
people, nah, I don't see those offers coming
That is
in.
true. Hey, you got to just try harder.
You just gotta try. You gotta hustle harder.
But these are actual texts. Like I actually saw them. Hey, you know what else? So I don't think we jumped into this, but of how like interesting things that you've done, right? I think we just skated past the Siberia thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
dude. There's so much to unpack. I think we kind of got like
I-
a little. It got a little heated there.
Got a little off topic, but I get into this. This was interesting. You guys built some house some like governmentally or government aid or something like that, and it was all like a easy access, like smart home or something like that.
Yeah.
Am I missing my story here?
You're right. So
In Siberia?
No.
Here
No.
In Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Close enough.
Close enough. It's cold. It's cold.
So
yeah.
there's an organization in America that's called Tunnel to Towers. They help out veterans that have been that are missing at least 2 limbs.
Okay.
So that's kind of their requirement and stuff like that. So there's a person in Minnesota that won a free home from this foundation, and my brother was actually in charge of building it. So
And this is the plumbing company, or is this your other?
both. So my brother is as a contractor
Mhm.
did all that stuff. So I was there, and build a full smart home from scratch. Smart home meaning that all the doors are voice activated. You can talk to Alexa, or if you have Google, and it does everything for you. Turn on the lights, like do the shades, like everything.
Wow.
A company from Colorado actually flew in to do all the smart home stuff because we couldn't find anybody in Minnesota. And this guy got his house for free.
Wow.
How much did that house cost? Because I remember I think you told me.
I don't think I'm allowed to say.
Oh, okay. Well, you gave me a ballpark. It was more than I thought.
Yeah,
Let's just say that.
It was a lot, and you got to understand that just the building costs that my brother went through, and then, for example, Home Furniture donated like all these couches. Best Buy donated all this stuff. Home Depot did a big part, like over 200,000. I can say that because it wasn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. See, I like those are just like interesting things. I feel like because back when I met you, long time ago, what was your nickname? Am I allowed to get into? Should we get into more Yuri now?
Let's do some Yuri stuff here.
Okay.
What was my nickname?
What was your nickname?
What was
I
it?
don't know.
Was
What's
it
your
Gulanator?
Yeah. I feel like
Is there a story where how this came by? You're still in my Snapchat. You're still Gulanator.
That was the question.
How did that happen?
Was that ever a story, or was it just
Since 7th grade?
Why?
Started football, and I was good. Not gonna lie. Come on.
Yeah. Hey, not for that busted
The Secret
knee.
Service wanted him. The Vikings wanted him.
Would have gone pro. Would have gone pro.
Yeah.
7th grade if I wouldn't,
No, in 7th grade, I had an awesome coach, and every single person he would give a nickname, and my nickname is Gulanator.
And that just stuck with you your whole
And
life.
it just stuck with
That's
me.
your Instagram.
throughout-
That's your Instagram.
That's my
handle, isn't it?
Instagram. That was my MySpace. That was like everything, you know.
Yeah.
And
MySpace. Wow.
they made shirts
Four
for
more
us
times.
already for football, and back of my shirt said Gulanator.
Gulanator.
Wow.
That's interesting.
So if you want to follow him on Instagram,
Gulanator.
Gulanator, and then on TikTok, your Dooty Calls
Dooty
Plumbing.
Calls Plumbing, baby.
That's right. Number 1 and number 2.
That's not even the slogan, but it's number 1 at number 2, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's what I
he
said.
said.
can't
Always
hear it.
trying to prove me wrong, man.
Well, someone's got to be right in this podcast. But
Clearly, it ain't you.
well, no, okay. So because the thing is, I remember like the first time. So this is more like personal, but your cousin, you're my wife's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I remember like the first time I think I ever met you. First of all, not that you're like big, but like first of all, you were tall, and from what I remember, like you had you're very like when I think plumber, I don't think as charismatic as you. maybe I could put any position as because you're extremely charismatic. Like you could host a wedding.
You
do host weddings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. How does that? How do you balance that? Like what's the
Or how does your personality even play into
Yeah,
your business,
yeah.
man? Do you think that's
Bro,
a strength that you're
It's
such
100% strength.
really?
I can find a conversation with anybody too. Say how many negative customers I had over the years. I could literally one hand,
Wow,
Mm.
good for you.
and I would take a loss. I would find my way to talk to a person. And if I have to spend 15 minutes extra at a job site because I want to speak to an older lady that's trying to find a conversation, I'll do that 15 minutes
Mhm.
because I like talking to people, and because I know when she gets to know me, she'll be able to recommend me to everybody else. So it's a win-win situation
Yeah.
for me.
Gotcha.
Just because I know we're about an hour and a half, maybe even later than that, and I wanna start wrapping up here.
Already?
But I'm telling you, it goes quick.
It goes
yeah.
quick. You don't feel it.
Yeah.
You don't feel it.
And for anybody starting out in the industry, in this business, in this trade,
Mhm.
plumbing, do you have any advice for them? Can you give a couple tips to those people?
100%. My biggest advice is don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 20.
Wow.
I like that.
Deep.
Comparison is a killer of success. Comparison is a killer of joy. So if you start comparing yourself to somebody that's already been in the business for 20 years, you'll never succeed. Start at your first chapter. Learn from the people that are in chapter 20.
Yeah.
See what they've done. But I believe each person needs to make their mistakes.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as not making mistakes in the business. If you're not making mistakes, you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of wealthy people around me. I know a lot of people that are successful in life, and I can look up to them. And it helps a lot to see somebody at their chapter 20, chapter 30, when you're starting at your chapter 1.
Yeah, because you can see the potential.
Yeah.
Is there, because I know we talked about this aspect, and I don't think we've even asked you about this, but I think it's the most important question. We can phrase it different ways, but like, why do you do the things that you do? Like, we talk to different companies, like, what's your driving force? Like, what is that thing? Is there a vision tied into it? Like, what is your why type of thing?
Why? It's a good question. If I would have to answer, I think it's because last 10 years of my life were revolving around plumbing. It's something I'm passionate about. I don't know, it sounds goofy to some people to say I'm passionate about plumbing. I like plumbing. I like learning new technologies. I love like talking about showers, designing systems. I love that kind of stuff.
I get that, man.
Like,
Gets me giddy.
Like,
That's so
I tell people I install toilets that are $7,000. You know, people don't.
That's cool.
That's
Pretty
pretty fun.
I mean, that's
Hey, that's pretty cool.
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I've done cool stuff with plumbing. Why did I stick around?
Well, like things, especially as a business owner, they don't stay easy. They get like you eat crap and you go through crap. Yeah, literally, pun intended. But like things, then you have good times. Yeah. But you're also gonna have those bad times. And
what's the driving force?
What's your driving force behind? Like,
driving force is success, guys. That's driving force behind anything.
You want to make that Dooty Calls like an actual name, an actual company.
And the thing is, like, you could say I'm already deep into it, 10 years, bro. What am I gonna do if I start something else?
Put 10 years into it.
Put 10 years to get and start over at chapter 1. I'm already into it. This is something I already enjoy. If I hated what I was doing, I would recommend people stop it and start over.
Yeah.
Go back to that chapter 1. At least you'll enjoy yourself in like 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
But I like what I'm doing. I have no issues with it. Now I'm at a point where like, how can I grow this?
Yeah.
Okay. How can I get more
So you're a
people
master
involved?
at your craft now, and now you want to like really blow it up.
How can I replicate it? How can I?
Every business is different. For me, in order for me to even, before you can even consider starting a plumbing business, you need to spend 5-6 years just working as an apprentice. True. You know, there's businesses that you don't need stuff like that. So for me, it was completely different. I needed to get into it. I grew a passion for it over time. I love challenges. I hate being in the same spot all the time. I can't be in an office. Like, no offense. Like,
no, I get it.
People are meant for an office. I'm not
for everyone.
I would rather be, and some people, you'd think I'm crazy. I'd rather be in a construction site.
Crazy.
I would rather be going through the headaches like I'm going through like this last week. You know, I'd rather be doing that. I love problem solving. Same thing probably in the office work. But
it's different. Like, it's
different.
You like the physical side of the work.
I like physical side of the work and people I work with. Yeah. And it's always somebody new. I'm not stuck in the same office every day. It constantly changes.
Would you tell someone younger to? I know you were trying to wrap up, but like I want some of his takes on like on some of this stuff. But would you tell someone to follow their passion when they're younger?
For sure.
But like sometimes people are passionate about like aquariums.
Bro, there's an aquarium shop right by our church. Bro, so that thing is booming.
You would. You
gotta find your passion, something that you love.
Yeah.
If your mom makes you go to nursing school and you hate it, don't do it, man. Start something that you're passionate about. Who the heck in their right mind would think that somebody can start a business out of fixing printers?
Yeah, that's true.
Who in their right mind would think that? I wouldn't. Until I met Ilya. Honestly, I've never seen something like that. If you're passionate about something, you'll find a way and you'll find success in it.
Oh, can I ask you another question?
Yeah. I want to add this. Unless you're failing for like 2-3 years, stop.
2-3 years.
So that's important. That's important because 2-3 years.
And if you have enough money for you to continue for 2 years, if you're taking out loan after loan after loan for 2 to 3 years, I think you need to stop.
That's a good point. Someone should watch that. My other thing is you said success.
Mm-hmm.
Define it.
Dang, that's a heavy question.
It is.
Take a minute on that one.
Take your
Defining
time.
success.
Take
wow.
your time on it. But like it's not. I think it's different for everyone.
It's different for everybody.
But what's your definition? Or what comes to mind at least? Because you're not gonna give me a perfect answer. It's a loaded question. I get it. But what comes to mind? When I say
Success for me would be financially capable to do anything I want and not have to go to work.
Being financially free.
Financially free, and like we were talking about
Right.
time management. Like I want to spend 2 weeks with my family, I can do that.
Right.
That's success. Is it something I want right now? No. That's not something I want right now.
To like just unplug.
To just unplug. That's not what I want. Maybe success has different meanings and deep inside of me as well, but
right.
Financially free,
in terms of
that should be success.
Okay.
But where do I imagine myself being and being happy?
Mm-hmm.
It's doing something for half the day and being able to spend time with my family. That would make me happy. I wouldn't want to sit at home all day. I'd go crazy, bro, especially twins, and I have 2 kids, bro. You have a newborn. That's why we're here.
There's
at 10, 15.
We're on vacation.
We're on vacation.
If our wives see this, though, we're in trouble.
Well, I say that because I think every business is trying to be successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every single one defines it differently. I think because you talked about passion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you define someone being successful? Because I talked to my wife just about this the same, and I'm not going to tell you my answer, but you put someone like an artist or a musician, and they're playing their guitar at some small gig, but they live with some roommates or whatever. They're not like popular by any means, but in their tiny little community or niche, they get to do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Would you define that as successful? It's their passion. Would you define that as successful?
No.
Why?
It might be something that they're enjoying, but an overall definition of success, I don't think that's successful.
Because of why? Because we've talked about passion, right?
Yeah.
For them, it works.
Passion and success, is it the same thing?
I just ask questions here. I just work here.
I wouldn't put those together. I don't know. For me, always I'm not talking about like literate definition. For me, definition of success has to do something with money.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your definition of success is there's a financial to it.
It's tied to it.
Yeah.
It's not everything, but it has a big part of it for sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and with the whole musician thing that you were saying, like, I agree with Yuri. That's definitely not like successful, because what is the definition of success? You know,
it's up to interpretation, though.
Well, not really. Off the top of my head, I'm sure if we Google it, which we probably should, but I was like, probably mastering or hitting the peak of your craft or whatever you're working on.
What if that's playing a guitar, the best guitar that you can
If
play?
you are successful playing guitar, if you are at the
You wouldn't
peak,
be only playing in a little room with a
I
few
know,
friends.
but you talk to okay, we all know the name Bob Marley, right?
No.
You know who Bob Marley is. Dude retired dead broke. No money.
Mm-hmm.
Was he successful?
well, what was he trying to accomplish?
Right. That's my
Was
point.
Picasso successful?
Yeah.
How?
Because he has now redefined a generation.
Didn't he die super unhappy and in a super horrible way too?
Most geniuses do.
And didn't he only like start making money after he died?
Most artists do.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible.
Why? Because there's
So
no
success
in
comes
their
after
life.
death.
Well,
So
but that's your
their definition of
But that's your
success is
definition.
dying.
No, but that's your definition. Okay.
Yeah, everybody has a different
That's my
definition
point.
for sure. Yeah.
That's my point. I talked to her. So my wife, the conversation we had the other day, I don't know why or what. There was a show that was on, or my niece was with us last week, and she was like watching the show, and like there was the scene where it's like a New York Wall Street type of thing, and there was like a guy walking super busy, and then there was a musician sitting on like a step or something like that, just playing, right? Musicians all happy, right? Like just it kind of pinpointed that, and then the other, I don't remember what the show was, and then the other, and it pinpointed how like the guy was on a phone call, like talking, like in it, right? And I was like thinking, I turned to my wife, I was like, I really, if I had to like pick, like, I know they made this like guy that was like on this Wall Street guy, like walking or whatever, talking on the phone. If I had to choose, I'd go with the Wall Street guy. Like if I had to switch places.
Yeah, because you're always on the phone now.
That's true. But
how many calls did you have that one time you said?
It was like 500 or something.
Okay, so
like that.
500 on a weekday, 100 on a weekend.
Yeah,
That is insane.
No, but
definition of not successful.
Illy, I would kill myself, brother.
But here's the thing.
I would think it's Samsung every time. Am I in another country?
I'd be one of those people that wouldn't have a phone at that point. I'd be like, nah,
no,
miss me with that.
All right, Ed.
My point with that was that like I would probably agree with you guys. In my personal definition is more owning my time, being able to do what I want. But the thing is, like, you could own your time. Like, there was this little story. I'll tell it too quick, 2 seconds. There's a guy fishing at a lake, and someone walks up to him, and they're like, and he's like pulling one fish and second fish, third fish, and there's a guy walks up, and he's like, man, you're really good at fishing. He's like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at fishing. And the guy's like, man, you could start a business with this. And he's like, yeah, probably could. And he's like, man, like, why don't you start a business? And then you get a boat, and then you get 2 boats, and then you get a crew, and then that crew can go out and then they can fish. And you can make all this money, and then you could fish out here with peace. And he's like, what am I doing right now? So it's like it's one of those things of like
that's funny,
it's what you define it as, and like I would probably fall into it. Has to be for me. It has to have something to do with finances, or it has to be a certain level of achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just not so like holier than thou. Maybe I need it. Maybe that changes too in the future. But I find it interesting in terms of like what drives you. And I would assume all 3 of us, I'm not into the personality test. I'm really not. But I think all 3 of us hit like almost the exact same thing. You and I hit the exact same one. I don't know what you hit.
What?
Like the Myers-Briggs test.
I've never taken that test.
Screw it. No, yes, you have. I know yours. I think you're closer to Z. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying that like a lot of us, we're similar in it. But like this is a podcast that people that are similarly minded to us would listen to.
Yeah.
But just because you're not similarly minded to us, your version of success can be totally different. And I actually would support that. Like,
and some people's version of success could be 9 to 5 for 40 years, get into some position in the job. They're happy. Their family's happy, and that would be successful for them.
Actually, that's for a lot of people. That's for the typical. Well, I don't know if most people are happy, but
now the Gen Z, they all want to be basketball, football players, like TikTokers, like instant millionaires.
Instant millionaires. Overnight success.
We had overnight success. We had someone on the podcast just recently, and they said their son got an offer on a job, like making $12 an hour, or whatever, and the kid's like 16, 15 bucks an hour, and the kid's like 16. And he's like, nah, I can make that on the internet. He's 16 years old. And like the guy that was on the podcast, he's like, my heart broke. He's like, what have I done wrong for my son to think like it's okay to just like, oh no, I got it on the internet. And like maybe he does. Like that's just the generation we live in. But like, I know that's kind of a tangent, but I think what drives you and who you are, or what drives you really will define who you are long term.
America is a country of opportunity. God bless America. I love this country. Since we moved here and coming from a third world country, you can pretty much say that, And coming to this, you can see the potential that this country has. People that grew up in it and don't realize the true value that we have here are very unappreciative of the opportunities we have here.
Yeah.
I encourage those kind of people is to buy a plane ticket somewhere, South America, Central America, some Europe countries, Eastern Europe, and you'll see what the world is actually like.
Yeah.
And when you come back, you'll actually thank God, if you believe in God, for what you have here and the opportunities that we are provided. So I'm very thankful we can build a business pretty much on anything here.
Yeah, true.
And the grind counts. Put in the hours, keep on going, work hard, and I believe most people will make it.
Yeah. And on that note, that's actually a perfect way to wrap up.
Yeah, I actually liked how you just wrapped it
Yuri,
up.
thank you so much for coming on to part 1. Guys, Dooty Calls Plumbing. Follow them on TikTok, Gulanator on Instagram. Peace out.
It's been a pleasure. See you next time.
Yeah.